10 months later without even advertising the job. So I made some inquiries. I contacted the chair of governance in private and in good faith and asked her to explain what a rationale was and what was going to happen. Her response, in my opinion, was rather evasive. So I asked again, and I wrote to all the governors asking them to explain what was happening and why they decided to do that. I posted that letter in a WhatsApp group. It's a private parents WhatsApp group. Like most parents, we chunted about a few things. One thing we talked about on that group was a letter from the school commanding all parents not to talk about the school on Facebook or social media or WhatsApp groups.
I would like to remind all parents that the school will take action where comments are aimed at individuals within the school community or as a result cause disharmony within the school or distress to the... So they sent this shit out in Comic Sans?
Thought that was a bit off. My partner Rosalind made a handful of vaguely spicy comments. She referred to one school leader as a control freak. She said the chair of governors didn't know much about anything. Out of the blue, on the 12th of July last year, the chair of governors
going to jail?
Rosalind, and she accused us of posting disparaging and inflammatory comments on WhatsApp and Facebook. And she warned us that if we didn't stop, she would ban us from our daughter's school. So we pushed back. We complained. We denied the accusations. We complained that they'd been accessing our messages. And 2 days later, they banned us from the school.
Wow.
Now, this ban had really serious implications for our daughter, Sasha. She has epilepsy, she's disabled, she has special needs. We weren't allowed to have normal conversations with the school. We could only send emails. So we had to send emails about everything our daughter needed for her health and education. We were going through the school's formal complaints policy. And then
the formal complaints policy. I think I just got done watching another video about the formal business policy of the government. Yeah, I wonder how many steps there are to that.
On the 20th December, there was a knock on the door. It was a police officer. He told me in no uncertain terms not to contact the school, not to speak to anybody about the head teacher recruitment issue. He even told me to take my daughter out of the school. In the end, we gave up, I suppose. We took Sasha out of the school. 5 days later, the police turned up.
That wasn't enough!
When we were finally interviewed, the detective, who'd had no previous involvement with the case, he turned out not to have any evidence of those alleged crimes. He had no documents, he had no first-hand accounts. He just had a vague statement from the acting head teacher at the school. It was Kafka-esque. It was surreal, it was bizarre, it was horrific. Eventually, we were put on police bail and discharged at midnight. We got a £75 cab back to our house in Bournemouth. About 2 or 3 days later, a kind of PTSD began to kick in.
Yeah, it's probably stressful to get fucking detained by the police, taken over there and everything. Yeah, I'd be stressed.
I mean, did that really happen?
Yeah.
Even now, 2 months later, when I see a police car go by somewhere near our house, I shudder. I think, are they coming back for us again?
No, I had this happen, like, because for a really long time, like, I've had a driver's license ever since I was, like, I had permit since I was 16. I got a license at 17. And, like, I'm 37, not 37, 34. Not, I was 17 then. So it's 17 years. I've had a driver's license. I think that for about 15 years. Caught? No, not yet. Anyway, so for 15 of the 17 years that I've had a driver's license, something has been wrong. I either didn't have registration, inspection, insurance, a valid license, it wasn't renewed, I didn't have the car, there's something wrong with the car, right? Some kind of issue wrong with it. And so anyway, basically, now, like, I have a new car, and so, like, all that stuff's up to date. And if I see a cop car, because, like, I'm still in the mindset of constant awareness of all police cars, because I've been playing hide and seek with APD, Austin Police Department, for 17 fucking years. And so it's hard for me to imagine that I'm not in the game right now, right? Because I haven't had to renew anything. And so I'm sitting around, I'm like I see a cop pull up behind me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he gonna run my plates. He gonna, this is it. Oh, this is it. This is it. And then I remember, like, actually, no, you got everything up to date. It's weird. It's really weird. APD is kind of easy. No, they don't give a fuck. Like, I've been pulled over probably like 6 times. I got a ticket once. And, like, to be fair, when I got that ticket, like, that was some, like, I really had fucked up there, right? Like, I didn't have anything at that point. I didn't have my license. It's because they watched the stream? I know some of them do, yeah.
Eventually, we got a call from the detective in charge of the case. He said to Rosalind, "We're taking it no further. I have found no evidence for these offences." And that was it.
That's it.
It was over. And even now, we still don't know what we're meant to have said or done, which was so terrible or justified sending 6 police officers to our house.
How convenient.
I don't know if we're the first parents to get our collars felt by the police for putting a school's nose out of joint, but I hope we're the last.
Hertfordshire Police has said, following reports of harassment and malicious communications, which are criminal offences, a man and a woman from
Harassment, malicious communication, criminal offense.
both aged in their 40s, were arrested on Wednesday, 29 January. The arrests were necessary to fully investigate the allegations, as is routine in these types of matters. Following further investigations, officers deemed that no further action should be taken due to insufficient evidence. A spokesperson for Hertfordshire County Council said an interim head was appointed for the one term to allow time for a proper recruitment process to be carried out. The role was advertised publicly, and the recruitment was supported by external professional advisors. We are confident that this was a fair, transparent, and timely process.
For sure. For sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. Here, I want you guys to notice something here. So, look at this real quick.
For God's sake, don't touch it.
Dad, what's wrong with the telly?
Evening, London.
You hear what he said? What did he just say?
Good evening, London.
He didn't say New York. He didn't say Texas.
Allow me first to apologize for this.
See,
like many of you, appreciate.
See, they've been making movies about this shit for years. Y'all didn't want to listen.
Repetition.
There's Piers Morgan.
I enjoy them as much as any bloke. But in the spirit of commemoration, whereby those important events of the past, usually associated
That's crazy.
with death or the end of some awful bloody struggle,
Wow.
are celebrated with a nice holiday. I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak.
Let me think, just let me think.
I suspect even now, orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way.
That's crazy.
Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words are used to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is,
This movie is good. Yeah, I remember I watched this in movie theaters.
terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
You designed it, sir. You wanted it foolproof. You told me every television in London.
And injustice.
A great movie? Yeah, it was.
And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak.
So I'm just saying,
you now have censorship.
all these movies, and you go look at Children of Men, I think it's the same thing. It's all in Europe. Because the reason why is that, actually, I think that in the story, the reason why is America, everybody killed each other in America. Everybody's dead. Like, we blew each other up. Like, that happened like a long time ago, right? But like, you know.
Conformity and civility.
Hey, it's better than fade away, right?
Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others.
28 days later, yeah.
If you're looking for the guilty,
5 years.
mirror.
It's V for Vendetta. It's a very good movie.
War, terror,
It's so fucking fun. It really is. Now in the UK? Yeah.
reason and fear got the best. And in your panic, Adam's order he promised you. And all he demanded in return was your
By the way, I think they're going to do this. They're probably going to elect a person, like one of these European countries. Like, they're basically going to do, I think they're going to elect a person in order to basically, like, shut down a lot of, like, immigration and, you know, migrant stuff. And they're going to do that, and then it's going to go even farther. And I always wonder, like, is this some kind of, like, fucking 600 IQ plan where it's like, we're going to make it so bad that you vote for the crazy guy so we can take over?
Last night, I destroyed the Old Bailey to remind the country of
I'm just saying.
More than 400 years ago, a great citizen wished to embed the 5th of November forever in our memory. His hope was to remind the world that fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words. They are perspectives. So if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of government remain unknown to you, then remember us. You see as I feel, and if you as I feel, then play 1 year, and together we shall.
Dude, I this is so fucking cool. I was like 19 or something like that. But I do have to say, y'all gotta get these people under control. You gotta get them under control. We have to find y'all gotta talk to them. Like you gotta throw some teen in the water, do something, right? I counted the last time I saw 6 police officers together at Britain. But here they are, arresting 2 parents in front of their children about their local school WhatsApp group. Completely and utterly lost. It used to be the home of indivisible. Now it's morphing before our very eyes into an Orwellian nightmare. We need a political revolution to restore the You know what? I'm fucking agree with that. Oh my god. The Brits got their guns out. Bro, we tried to tell y'all. We tried. Look, like you should have listened. You should listen. We had it set up. Yeah, no, I mean for sure. They need to go for a tea party. Yeah, they need to do something, man. They need to have their Trump. I know exactly. Yeah. No, this is the freedom of speech. I can see that. Damn, bro. Like, is it really that bad? Damn, that's just too bad. Let me see how we run this. And, wow.
You are unique in the world, the indigenous population of the South. See the Protestant people. Your culture, your language, your tradition, those are all what this is Saudi Arabia. We're the most important country in Islam. You know,
why is it that the UK has to get rid of ninja swords, but does anybody know?
They are. Very powerful. Great. I'm from the Middle East. I come here. They're like, great. So glad to have you. By the way, you're not allowed to, like, change the laws here because you're not Saudi.
Yeah, sure.
Great Britain lacked that self-respect. The United States increasingly lacks that self-respect and that belief that their way of doing things is a good way and worth fighting for. If you don't have that, then it's just like a massive home invasion where you're not willing to stand up and defend your way. And so you get...
It's a good thing Morrison is in America, or he'd be going to jail for this.
Get enslaved. Like,
Yeah,
again,
I do think
that's the rule of the
he
world.
going to jail. He going to jail.
Way and has lost its ability to solve the world. An increasing amount.
This is what's funny. Even Saudi Arabia and the UAE, they were the ones telling Britain. You don't know. We know. You think you know. You don't know. We know. We're telling you, and you're not gonna live. All right. All right. Okay.
Peaceful coast. It's like, obviously that's what we're doing, but it's deeper than that. It's like, no, this is England. This is the country that gave free speech to the United States. This is what this is Western civilization. Western civilization. What is it? It's England. And so if you allow it, now, I don't think that's overstating it at all.
I assume they did. They just not say that.
On the entire we're your second. We did much more land and resources. So I'm very stressed about it.
That's insane. Really is. Oh my god. The Tesla attack. I've got to see this. This is so dumb.
The FBI investigating the bombs found in a Tesla showroom in Austin as protesters prepare for their Tesla takedown day of action this week. Here's AOC as Ffxiv blaming for the violence against Tesla.
Democrats are to blame for why people are so triggered by this, because when you're at rallies, and not you particularly, but your colleagues saying F Elon.
Who is it?
Musk and using other words, to profane words to describe him, does that rile people up, their supporters, to take action on their own?
I don't know. You know, I think about Republicans calling me a communist and Republicans saying that I hate this country, and I certainly have felt the impact of that.
Why is it so hard to just say it's bad to blow up somebody's screen? It's so easy to say that. Why don't you just fucking say it?
Okay, Fox News contributor and author of Pilot Failure, reversing the ruling of America's worst-run state, Steve Hilton, joins us now. We'll get to that book in just a moment. But Steve, what did you think of the
Incendiary devices. People might not have known about this. I didn't talk about this on my stream. In Austin, I live in Austin, Texas. In Austin, people found bombs and like explosives that were at a Tesla showroom here in Austin. I think I drove by where it is before. Yeah. Some crazy shit happened. It is some crazy shit. You should explain that a car in a showroom is not a nobody car. I don't know why would that matter? Like, yeah, why would you do it? Shut up.
an opportunity to denounce this violence?
AOC is just such a ridiculous
caricature of what is she talking about? It is very evident that the left are pushing this violence. There's no other word.
They absolutely are. Whenever people call Elon Musk and they say that he's a Nazi, stuff like this, you are absolutely dialing up the temperature and trying to escalate things into violence. Absolutely 100% what's happening. I don't understand. It seems very easy. Like, as somebody all the time come into my chat and they're like, I remember, like, do you denounce January 6th? Yeah, it was bad. Like, I don't know why they can't do the same thing. Why is it that you can't just acknowledge this thing where you're blowing up cars? It's so easy. Is calling someone a communist equal bad. AOC is a communist. I don't think that there's enough evidence. I don't think they should be saying that about her either. But let's be real here. There's only really one side that's burning down cars. Like, it's not like people get to go to the Bud Light backwards.
To describe it. It is terrorism. We had regularly in litter bins on the street, railway stations, in pubs. It was Irish Republicans. That's what this is. And it's even worse because if you look at Elon Musk,
this shit is crazy. Like, this honestly, if you saw this in another place, like, for example, if this was a Proud Boys thing and they had started lighting up cars because they thought the cars were from Japan and they hated Japanese people, this would be on mainstream news. They'd want the president talking about it all the time. Everybody'd be going out there. Like, it's so very obvious that this is one-sided, man. It is. It's worse than vandalism. Well, the reason why it's worse is right? It's like the difference between manslaughter and murder. So, it's not comparable? Well, I mean, nothing's ever directly comparable. But my point is that when something bad happens, like that supremacy rally thing happened, pretty much everybody agreed that this is bad, right? It was pretty easy to be like, yeah, this is bad. But the problem is that I think that people refuse to denounce the bad actors in their group. Yeah, even Trump denounced it. Yeah, even Trump. And so you get that right off the bat. So, of course, the proof that it's Democrats burning cars. What do you think? What do you think? Do you really think you need the proof for that? Like, you really think you need proof for that? Come on, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Use your fucking eyes. Think about it for 3 seconds. Who said that? Yeah, what is this? And what's the percentage? Because the old guy keying Teslas with an American jacket looks like a Republican? He looks like a Republican because he's an old white person? Come on, man.
To influence policy, and it's even worse than that because you look at Elon Musk. This is one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, probably the greatest entrepreneur. He's trying to help his country. And what does this say to any business leader or anyone who wants to get involved with the Trump administration? They're trying to intimidate people. That's why we've got to clamp down on this incredibly hard.
It has nothing to do with it. It's not weird to say, but it actually doesn't. It has to do with a very simple policy of, are you going to allow people to weaponize, or to use violence in order to achieve a political goal? No. No, it doesn't matter whether Elon Musk is good or bad. Even if you think he's bad, you still shouldn't be able to do this. So, like, trying to argue that, like, oh, well, that has nothing to do with that. Even if everything that was true, burned down random fucking cars.
Trump says.
Also, what does it say about the political left that they think that this is a messaging strategy that is going to work? I mean, you tell me what you're seeing as far as the Teslas.
It won't. And in 5 years, people will look back at this in the same way that people look back at the BLM riots now as a disaster. And I think most people will say BLM is a scam, and they have a negative perception of it. This will absolutely, in retrospect, be looked back as a embarrassment.
And are they getting rid of them? I mean,
is.
we've even seen some of the Teslas out on the road who have stickers on them who say, I bought this before Elon Musk went crazy or whatever it is. But is this a sign that the left really is going to learn from the last election?
Exactly. They're not learning at all. Any normal person that they were defeated, and they went to where the energy is in the party. It's the left. It's AOC. It's Bernie. And so they just haven't realized how out of step they are.
Massively. This is everything's a psyop.
This awesome birthday board. Now a failure. Reversing the ruin of America's worst state. What compelled you to write this?
Well, it's really a warning. We know how bad it is. The Democrats and where they are. And AOC and Bernie, which is where they're going. That is what's been implemented in California. That's what we have. The AOC Bernie.
Way of themselves. They're starting to run defense and play the game of like trying to make it seem like it's not as bad as it is. Like bringing down random people's cars and keying cars. What you do also is that you have and what happens is that there are a lot of things that, like for example, that and it's disappointing that issues that actually matter because it's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're in a huge way. Yeah, it's still too high. Well, look, it's better than what it is, right? And so, like, that's a good start. But I agree with you, by the way. I think interest is a fucking scam. But that's not the point. The point is that these people are, like, there are a lot of progressive ideals that I very strongly agree with, right? Like, I'm a universal basic income person. I think we should have a government healthcare system. And in general, I think that there should be a lot of people have access to. Like, that's what I believe in. You also have to take on, like, you're in the part of people who think that terrorism, who think that destroying property is protest. And you think that, like, and you have these issues where these people, like, have co-opted a very good and noble cause, and they've, like, contrived it into, like, just weird.
The highest poverty rate in the country, the highest unemployment, worst homelessness, we pay the highest taxes, highest costs for housing, energy, gas, everything. So everyone needs to understand how we got here. That's why I wrote this book. How it happened, but most importantly, how we stop it happening in the rest of the country, especially as people are thinking about the midterms and, oh, maybe we'll go back a little bit to the left. No. That's what we've got in California. It's a total failure.
I think that all of this stuff is nobody, I cannot imagine a single person saying, you know what, I voted Republican, and now I'm going to change my mind. I can't imagine that happening with anybody at this point. Find it to be very unlikely. You're allowed to believe what you want, though. You aren't guilty by association. That's a child's mentality. Yeah, but that child's mentality is dominating discourse, and that's the problem. Why do you have to join a cult? Why can't we debate ideas? Because the financial apparatus around the cults are
on 40, California firemen said that Congress think leaders are doing Whiskey. Thanks so much, Steve. It's available now on
children? Examples, right? Like defending the Tesla attacks or trying to minimize them. Trying to minimize and say that it wasn't a massive fuck up that group chat got leaked. That's another example. Trying to act like January 6th wasn't bad. Trying to act like illegal immigration isn't a problem. Taking the side of people that were protesting for actually we're destroying property and taking over buildings in college campuses for Palestine, right? These are all perspectives and like positions that nobody, like anybody who's pushing this, in my opinion, has been ideologically captured, and you shouldn't take them very seriously. Because at that point, like, this person it's more important to them that they follow the rules of like what they think is acceptable and not. It's more important for them to do that than for them to think for themselves. And that's it. They're compromised. Yes, they've been compromised. Acting like being anti-Elon and destroying Teslas is the same thing. Yeah, people can hate Elon Musk, like, that's fine. But you can't burn down a Tesla because of it, right? I mean, that's really the difference. Are you joining Doge? Yeah, maybe I will.
So Democrats are being called out by their own party for their behavior doing.
Jesus, bro, like, this is some, like, millennial whose entire personality is watching The Office level energy. It's bad. It's real bad.
President Trump's address to Congress.
Mm-hmm. That is how you save democracy, by quietly dissenting. Or bidding on an antique tea set. It was hard to tell what was going on.
I don't know who thought up the bingo signs, but they should be fired.
Michael, this is an indictment, in my opinion, on the Democratic leadership.
We saw this.
Well, we saw the theatrics tonight in the chamber are not being well received.
I will say, I thought that was just, I think there were times when they should have risen. I think what Al Green did was despicable.
And even Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman expressed his disappointment, posting this on social media. It only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming the metaphorical car alarms that nobody pays attention to, and it may not be the winning message.
I really like this guy. I don't agree with everything he says, but I think he's a real one. You know?
Joining us right now is the host of Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Awesome analogy. Yep.
Every show he's on. Piers Morgan, great. And we don't even know about
Yeah.
By the way, watching you try to interview the head of world football, you couldn't even remember the name of the sport. It's football.
Oh,
you knew that was one of the more comical things I've heard. It's only right.
He's talking about soccer, by the way. Don't get confused.
Well, what happened over here on the floor?
Right. Yeah.
When it was actually very well done, Norris, but that was embarrassing.
I love you. I love you. We have to defend our American sport. It's called soccer.
It is football, right?
You want to defend me?
Yes, absolutely, Brian. Don't come into
You mean real football? Yeah, no, I mean the football you play with your hands.
So what do you think? What about Democrats against
What do I
Democrats?
think? Here's what I think. I think it was one. I was watching it live in you. I thought it was one of the most pathetic, petty, shameful things I've ever witnessed. And he went on.
He's so right. He's so fucking right. Yep.
And on and on. And, you know, back in the UK, we have Parliament. It gets very rowdy, very noisy.
Yeah.
They all have a pop at each other. They lock horns. What you would never see is somebody like that 13-year-old boy.
Look at their face, bro. Like, that's what I was saying, bro. Like, you really think you get a 22-year-old guy to be like, yeah, this is what I want. Yeah, I want these people to tell me what to think. Nah, bro. Nah, that shit is done.
A brain cancer survivor who's been through 12 surgeries, I think, who's being there, having his dream lived out on global television, and Donald Trump has facilitated that. Just get up and applaud that boy. The fact they couldn't even do that, I thought was just contemptible. I really did.
It looked stupid. It was an optical mistake, and they should have gotten up and clapped for it. And then also, like, we always have one of these people in chat. Why do we shit on Dems? But whenever MTG and Bobart screaming during Biden's speech gets a pass, when did I give them a pass? When did I do that? I'm curious when I did that. I mean, there's got to be a reason, right? I mean, it's not like he just. I mean, there's no way he just like imagined this, is there? He's not about to roach out, is he? You're not about to roach out. You've been typing for a bit. You've been having all kinds of opinions. You've been having all kinds of opinions, but now you get pulled up. We, not in specifically you, still here? Yeah, as in not specifically you. Yeah, because I didn't. Who here agrees with me that them doing it was also fucking retarded? It was retarded, annoying, and disruptive. Yeah. You're fighting with ghosts. Yeah, sure. There's some people that are biased. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. But, like, not everybody. One doesn't excuse the others. Yeah. You're purposely misunderstanding them? No, I'm not.
And the Democrats have got to take a good, long, hard look at themselves, because the stupid signs, the not getting up for the poor families of these murdered people, the way they treated that boy.
The whiteboard was too much. Even the signs were okay. The whiteboard?
The walkouts, the silly Instagram stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
Look at me, I didn't go in. This is the President of the United States speaking.
What's going on?
In the heart of politics.
Yeah.
I think they've, honestly, Lawrence, they've lost the plot. The Democrats have lost the plot. they did not see this big win coming for Trump in the election. They got completely wiped. They've lost all power, and they are scrabbling to work out what they do about this.
It's
and
hallmonitor
the key
energy.
messages that Trump keeps ramming home.
Worst person to talk about this? Well, doesn't that make him the best person to talk about this? Because if you think Piers Morgan, if he can figure this out, and he's not even from the U.S., then why the fuck can't they?
America's no longer a woke country, and that secondly, he's the sort of pioneer of a revolution of common sense. They don't know what to do about this. I mean, on one hand, you've got them all in their pink gear, right, going on about women's rights. On the other, they won't applaud a president who wants to bring back equality and fairness to women's sport in America.
Piers, a lot of people can relate to this, though, that are Republicans or conservative, because if you support Trump, they hate you too.
Yeah.
And so this little boy, he's there. It's not about Trump at that moment. It's about this little boy, and Trump's just allowing him to be a Secret Service agent. We don't know how that child's family votes. They're from Houston.
They started calling the kid. They started saying that he was a DEI hire. Like I saw like some like leftist people saying that he's a DEI hire. And I'm thinking to myself, so if this kid's getting a ceremonial position, it doesn't actually matter, just to make him feel good. And you're calling that DEI. It's just interesting. That's all.
That moment, Ainsley, I thought when Trump invited him to the Oval Office with his family.
That's right.
And the little boy said, "Can I give you a hug?"
Yeah.
That is the human side of Donald Trump, which we've all seen a lot of, right? I'm really pleased we're seeing more of that this time around, because that is what he can be about. And I think the Democrats have lost their sense of humanity. I mean, they just don't know what to do. It's extraordinary to watch.
Last week we had Macron and Starmer come visit, and then with Zelensky in the meltdown on Friday. And now there was an emergency meeting last night with European leaders. How do you view Europe being asked and told to come together and support Ukraine or other causes, build up your military, take ownership? How does that look from the inside?
Trump is 100% right about this, and he has been from the moment in his first term he went on about NATO and how the European countries were simply not paying their dues. And they weren't.
I don't see any defense for why they're not paying the money. If you can't pay the fucking money, then why do we have to pay the money? It's that simple. Yeah, like, I mean, fuck that.
And guess what? Now most of them do. But they should still be now.
Everybody, we always get one of these people. We always get one of them. And okay, now Israel. Again, you're jousting at windmills. You're fighting with ghosts. You're in an argument with a person that doesn't exist.
Paying more. You know, Poland, I think, has gone to 5% GDP on defense now, right? They're leading the way. Europe should be standing on its own 2 feet. If I was an American, I would be sick and tired of constantly having this assumption from Europe that you will always be here to pick up the pieces, to pay the bills, to do all the fighting. Right?
A lot of Americans do feel exactly the way that Piers is expressing. And I think this has been something that's been ongoing for a long time with, like, basic American sentiment. And Americans, I think, have a lingering resentment towards Europeans who always act high and mighty about their, you know, their social systems or, you know, their culture being more educated. Meanwhile, we're providing their defense. Meanwhile, we're paying our NATO dues and they're not doing that. And so as soon as people realized that was going to happen, that resentment was then channeled into not giving a fuck about helping Europe. That's the reason why. Oh, like, I would say, like, a huge amount of people in America feel this way.
Very proud that the UK has fought alongside America in many conflicts. My brother was a British Army colonel, fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, you know, nothing means more to me than that special relationship. But at the same time, Europe has got to start punching its way. I like the fact my new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and Macron, they seem to be leading this way now for Europe to step up properly. But I hope we do a deal in the end that brings, as Trump wants, peace, where the Americans are there, but you're not having to do all the heavy lifting like you normally do.
But Pierce, do we, because some of the messaging from the mainstream media and Democrats is that I don't think we look weak, but they feel like we look weak as a country. What is the perception in the UK?
I don't think that a lot of people care about looking weak. I think Americans are less concerned with like the international, like we care more about our own infrastructure and our own country than what Germany's opinion of us is. That's not particularly important. It's just not. Don't care anymore. Yeah, it's just it's not higher on the priority list. Now, if we could have both, that'd be nice, and I think in a lot of ways we probably could. But if you had to pick, it's gonna be our stuff. You guys don't even know where Germany is? Proves my point. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny because I spoke to President Trump last Friday morning, just the day after he'd seen the British Prime Minister at the White House. And I texted him, I said, I've never seen better media coverage in the UK than what I've seen this morning. Every front page,
I have been
the return of the special relationship. Then there was the Oval Office bust-up. The next morning front page is the complete opposite, which is very, that's very Trump world, right? I think the reality is, as always, people react hysterically to everything the president does. They can't really work out what's going on. I always try and remind them. I'm known as the Trump whisperer in the UK. Well, what's he really doing? I said, why don't you just remember what he is?
Negotiation.
He's a businessman who's negotiating. I think Donald Trump genuinely wants peace. I think that he wants to bring everyone to the table, but I think he also wants Ukraine to accept that the war is where it is. This war has not moved in 8-9 months. Hundreds of thousands of people have been killed on this battlefield. It has got to stop. But he's got to do it, I think, in a way where America is strong, but also the Europeans understand this is a war happening in Europe. And you can't just go knocking on the door and say, America, sort it all out for us. It's got to be a concerted team effort. And
this is exactly the way a lot of voters here think, I believe. I believe this is the way they think. Yeah, absolutely.
Personally, knowing how Donald Trump feels about this, I think he will get that. And in the end, we'll look back on this period as being a little bit rocky, as these things always are when you try and sort out a war. But ultimately, I think we'll get to peace and people will thank him.
We'll see if this is the one deal that Putin sticks to, because he's famous for...
Well, you know what's interesting? I found a clip and it went viral, actually, and it was from when I interviewed...
No way. Oh my God. That's the one that we watched and we put that one up there. Oh my God. This is the interview with Bill Clinton, remember that?
Come, you must have got...
Bill Clinton at CNN about 10 years ago. And he was talking about his dealings with Vladimir Putin when he was president and Putin just come into power in Russia. And he said the interesting thing was,
man, that is crazy.
Squabbles and everything else. But in private, if he agreed on something and shook hands with you, he always kept his word. I think Trump has that relationship with Putin. I think that they say what they say in public, but fine, and he has to play the game a bit to get Putin to the table. But I think behind the scenes, there's a lot of talking going on, and clearly Trump believes when it's him and Putin, he can trust him. That may be enough in this situation. We'll see.
For 4 years.
I told you he was going to be a good guest. They didn't think so.
Listen, I've got all morning. I mean, they want me to come and watch you lot kick a football. I mean, it's like, do they even know what the sport is?
I know.
I'm going to be judging you out there.
It's so weird for a Brit to be it's so unique. You never get that.
It's not soccer. It's football.
We know.
You took our sport. You changed the shape of the ball.
That's
you
right.
put padding and
That's right.
We made it better.
The co-host before we got time for
yeah, true.
We got to pass over to the female anchor.
We're just taking time away from Brian's next interview.
That's right. Why don't you just listen? I've got all morning.
Once he's on, he doesn't leave.
Right. They wrapped us like 1 minute ago. So take it out of Brian's time with his guests, not mine.
Nothing better than taking time out of Brian's time.
Right.
Nothing sweeter in the world.
Who booked him?
Pierce, always good to see you. Thank you.
He's got a point. Yeah, we're done for changing football. It is dumb that I don't know how we did this, where we decided that the game that you play with your hands is now called football. Like, I mean, I think it's ridiculous too. I do. It's very ridiculous. There's a video. I think that Piers is right about a lot of this. And it's interesting to see, like, somebody who's not even, like, you know, a Native American, you know, born here, like, you know, obviously he's in fucking UK, right? I think he gets it. I think he does. And, he does. And at least he kicked the ball with his foot at some point. Yeah, but you don't even get as many points for that one. Aren't field goals like 3 points and a touchdown 7? I feel like, yeah, you don't even get half as many points for the ones that you score with your feet. Yeah, Native American. Well, like, what I mean is he's native to America. Like, I mean, I get what you're saying. Is it 6? Yeah, touchdown is 6. Oh, okay. Yeah, touchdown 7. I don't fucking remember, right? I mean, I'm not a big sports guy. I'm not a memer. I'm not a, oh, sports is stupid, I'm too smart for sports. But I'm not a big sports guy either, to be honest. It's just not really my kind of thing.
Welcome to the Daily Show. My name is Jon Stewart. We got a great show for you tonight, my friends. I got a new tie with a chart. Ooh. I'll tell you what, we got a great one. Paul Rudd is going to be. Paul Rudd finally had the balls to come on this show after weeks of calling me a propagandist. Know this, our interview will be unedited. Rudd's going down. It's happening. I'm gonna give that dude an infection of the period. I should explain. We come out early, I do a little warm up with the audience, and for some unknown reason, and it really was not prompted, I was trying to discuss the relationship between asthma medication and a side effect of an infection of the perineum. Unfortunately, I have no one in the audience who was able to satisfy my curiosity on that. Those of you at home who may be looking it up right now, wait till the commercial break. But first, a quick update on an administration that is once again carrying out its plans with confidence and professionalism.
A reporter from The Atlantic says he was mistakenly added to a group chat with top members of the Trump administration as they were texting back and forth about highly sensitive war plans.
Jeffrey Goldberg says he was included in a group chat full of our nation's top security officials discussing what we can only assume to be top secret plans to bomb Houthi targets across Yemen on March 15th. Everything from the weapons America would be deploying to the planning and the attack sequences.
You know, back in my day, if you were a journalist who wanted leaked war documents, you'd work the sources, meet them in a dark garage. Now, just wait for a national security advisor to be distracted by white lotus while he's setting up his bomb Yemen. Group chat. I don't guys judging each other off. Oh, did I bring you down? Let's move on. Because as you know, there are certain hypocrisies and absurdities that we find in our cultural moment that make for great fodder for humorous dialogue, a facial expression, a nod and a wink. Then there are other pronouncements by our elected officials, actions by our government, that are so baldly bullshit, even though you know it will have no effect, and that these powerful creatures have been genetically modified to resist shame, self-reflection of any kind. You just can't help yourself but to go old school daily show. I'm talking about very concerned about the loss of free speech in our country.
Those on the left aiming to silence conservatives.
Free speech is under siege in this country. The leftists, they're become the
George Orwell was right. Very scared.
Speech nightmare recently came to an end when we entered the golden age. Donald Johnson.
We have saved free speech in America, and we've saved it strongly. Free speech in America.
We have a president now who believes in free speech. Just go ahead.
I believe that CNN and MSDNC, what they do is illegal. I think CBS should lose its license, but I think ABC should lose its license also because of what they've done.
I watched What Happened Live. I think Bravo should also lose their license. What they did to Dorinda on Traitors, they should be sent to a Salvadorian hellhole. This is what I'm talking about. Generally, you've got to search the archives for contradictions on one's stated principles, dig through policy papers on private actions that are undermined by someone's public stance. But this is so blatant. I can't wrap my head around it. It's not even the hypocrisy. It's that they so rationalize free speech that they do not actually practice.
Freedom to speak our minds and express the truth that is our heart. Really, that's really a big chunk of our heart.
Any cardiologist will tell you heart's come in chunks. Blood comes into the aorta to the right ventricle, passes through your speech chunk. But since coming into office, Trump and the Republicans have instituted policies that are dagger right through your speech chunks.
The White House has barred missiles from presidential events because the AP has refused to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America in style book. And in a dramatic escalation of the legal system, the government to target federal immigration officials and activists to help police year's encampment protest.
We gotta get them all out of the troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country.
My chunks! Here's the thing. These attacks on free speech, especially the one where they reported that activist, if there's one thing that I know about the powerful principals at our higher education institutions, they will not be bullied by a World 212.
President Trump's demands, announcing it will change a number of policies.
Among them, placing the school's Middle Eastern, South Asian, and African Studies Department under academic receivership for at least 5 years.
Academic department is on double secret probation. government oversight. And by the way, okay, African studies. What they do? To the African studies professors like, I teach intermediate Swahili. See, these guys don't give a f about free speech. They care about their speech. It's so blatant, hypocrisy. It's so old school Daily Show gotcha. You know what? I'm just going to put on the wig I used to wear during those years. Because the hypocrisy is just so... Here's Donald Trump on those who would criticize judges that he had.
A lot of the judges that I have, if you look at it, truly interference, in my opinion, and it should be illegal, and it probably is illegal in some form.
It is interference. It should be illegal. Tremendous abuse. Days later, not a pro-inflator.
Trump just took to Truth Social and deemed this judge responding to this decision here, calling him a radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama. He says this judge should be impeached.
The hypocrisy. It hurts. And are we really still doing the Barack Hussein Obama thing? Oh, free Harambe. Come on, people. See, the whole thing that they hated about the left on free speech?
No one is safe from the left's war police.
No one. What exactly would an actual government-run word police organization look like?
Actively trying to purge the federal government of so-called woke initiatives. Government agencies have flagged hundreds of words to limit or avoid words like DEI, BIPOC, anti-racism, Latinx, Native American, black, women. Seemingly random words like expression, at risk, political, and even mental health and sex.
What's left? I get that. You're not allowed to say sex. You can't say words like women, sex, or hashtag #MeToo. How do your cabinet members describe it? You know, you can't protest in a way that... You can't protest in a way that affects what you can't teach things. Take it down because she believes this picture is unflattering. It's fake. You can see a picture of me unflattering. They planted the foundation into your head. Oddly enough, there is still one that defends.
They've come a long way, Meta. Twitter now they're going with X. We scraped it. Elon bought that. He's done us all a big favor.
That they're so enamored with social media.
Studies by the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and academic organizations have found that the site forced political content on users. That content was almost invariably pro-Trump, pro-Republican, and pro-Musk.
Huh. The one area of free speech that they want to protect completely is the area that supports them and isn't actually free. Social media is algorithmic, and it advances with key different drivers, or to put that in the most hilarious way possible.
The president sat down with Outkick's Clay Travis on Air Force
I wanted to start with this. Why do you think young men are so overwhelmed in the direction?
They are overwhelmingly the direction that is. You know how that works, but you really can't come in the direction you're not facing. Although, young men at that age, you could bank a shot. I could see one fly over the shoulder. Maybe a trick shot where they landed in a cup. You know where that would go viral? Social media. The one place the right will unequivocally protect free speech is the one place it's speech incentivized for engagement and profit. It's manipulated. It just so happens that the process that forces you to doom scroll somehow also draws you into Republican ideology. Social media is designed to stimulate the reptilian parts of your brain that would otherwise beg for it's like being tested casinos give out free food. Social media is a square, open forum of ideas. It's a plan.
Facebook created a fake account for a 41-year-old mom. They called her Carol Smith. Carol started off by liking a few popular conservative Facebook pages, but quickly, Facebook began dragging her down a rabbit hole of misinformation. After only 2 days, Facebook recommended Carol follow a female page, and a few days later, she follow another. Polarized content.
As you ever chose. Social media is in the same free speech in the way that it's the same mechanism that somehow convinced you that you should eat and the most now that it's God's sake, the billionaires are designed to manipulate to control our behavior and rewire our brain. Removing our regular speech, I don't know, great replacement of it to solidify their
Elon Musk is taking a very courageous stand for the First Amendment. He's got us a timeline, and he's got oranges the size of beach balls.
They know their Bhattacharya's. Legal director of Georgetown Law's Institute for Constitutional Advocacy and Protection. I know her as the individual who took over administrating the 9/11 Drug Act Victims Compensation and Healthcare Fund for 9/11 first responders and all the people that live down at Ground Zero and Pennsylvania and the Pentagon. So, deep state. She is deep state. And I'm going to take it to her ass. But first, today the United Nations marked the 3rd anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by doing the only thing the United Nations can do, passing a non-binding resolution asking Russia to please stop